With the world of coaching evolving and the carousel is always changing, we're going to sit down with some coaches and we're going to figure out why they coach, how they coach, what they coach, and most importantly, we're going to figure out why they chose this profession. My name is Kason Wilkinson, and I'm your host of the Coach's Why podcast.
That was my Coach's Why.
What is up, everybody? We are back at it again with another episode today. And I first off wanted to say I apologize for the delay of episodes. Initially, my thought process was to have podcasts every other week delivered essentially. But there's been a lot of things happening. I started this podcast before the end of the season, wrestling season anyways. And, you know, obviously towards the end of the wrestling season, it gets really, really hectic. So I didn't really have a chance to get as many guests on here as I'd like to, or really stick to that schedule as much as I'd like to. But that has now changed with the idea that season's over. And obviously, you know, finding guests, getting the right time, you know, can be difficult sometimes. So I do have some guests lined up for the next few weeks. So there should be no issues with actual podcasts coming up with guests on. But today, it's just me today. I don't want to leave you guys hanging for too long without anything. So just wanted to reach out, or I should say, put something out here and talk a little bit about what's going on with me. You know, our season ended. We did pretty well. You know, we finished top 10, actually finished top 8. We had 5 placers, state champ, state runner-up, and third place consolation champ on the boys' side. And on the girls' side, for the first ever girls' team, we had a state runner-up and a 5th place. So it was really, really awesome, really good year. And yeah, that's all I can say about that. So really successful year. But a little bit about... You know, I really wanted to talk about this. Did you guys watch the NCAAs? And actually, we'll start with the NAIAs because, you know, I know NAIA has a little bit of a different format when it comes to how they run their tournament. But if you looked at those brackets and those seeds, which obviously at this point, you know, in life, I mean, there's only a few guys that can run with the 1 or 2 seeds, I feel like, that are pretty consistent. But NAIA had so many double-digit seeds place. And so many single digits not even make it to blood rounds. It was absolutely crazy, which leads me into talking about the NCAA's Division I tournament. Everybody knows what happened with the 125 class. How in the heck did Spencer Lee lose? Great question. Honestly, I'm going to tell you this. That's going to be one of those where were you moments. I was sitting on my couch. Actually, I was at my grandparents' house that night watching that with my kids. And that was one of the first times in a long time that I jumped out of my seat in astonishment. That was absolutely crazy to watch. If you didn't watch it, go watch it. The highlights are all over. It's all over social media, right? If you watch the whole match, it's definitely going to create better anticipation and better, you know, build up. But it was one of the craziest things I've watched, and really one of the. I don't know if you're a Spencer Lee fan, obviously it's heartbreaking. If you're a Matt Ramos fan, you're absolutely stoked. If you're a fan of wrestling, it was even cooler. Just because everybody knows the anticipation of Spencer Lee going for the 4. Obviously, the anticipation of Spencer Lee going against Pat Glory, right? All of these things. It was just one of those things where you just don't think you'd see that, and we saw it. And I jumped out of my seat. All of my kids looked at me, looked at the TV. My grandparents were like, "What's wrong?" You know, it's one of those moments where it's like, nothing. I'm just watching wrestling. And it was one of those things. I called some of my friends. I was like, "Did you see that? Did you watch that?" Because it was absolutely crazy. I can't believe I got to watch that live. You know, good for Ramos. You know, I know there's a lot of hate and there's a lot of opinions about why Spencer, you know, forfeited out the rest of the tournament. I can't fault the guy. You know, if he's really going through some stuff, whether it's mentally, physically, whatever's going on behind the scenes that to make him do that, we have to respect what it was, right? Obviously, there's a lot of kids who look up to him, and if you on that side of the fence of, oh, well, he quit, he didn't win, so he wanted to just not wrestle again. Like, okay, like I can see your point of view, but there's the other side of it. It's like, he's a grown man. He can make his own decisions, and if he really is going through something physically, mentally, then, you have to respect it, because there really could be something going on. As everybody knows, he had double knee surgery in the offseason, and the fact that he was able to even wrestle this year and do what he was able to do throughout the year was pretty cool and pretty astonishing, So hats off to Spencer for a terrific college career. Obviously, Ramos, and for him even just, letting it fly and going for it. Congrats to my boy Patrick Glory. I've been a fan of Glory for a long time, and he's in a really tough division. He really always has been. So the fact that he was able to pull it off this year was really cool. So hats off to you, and hats off to him. NCAAs were fun this year, man. They were cool, kind of across the board. There was a few matches that weren't as great compared to some others, but as a whole, it was a really, really fun tournament to watch. My fantasy wrestling did not go as planned, but that it is what it is. So really, at the end of the day, it was a fun NCAA tournament, and overall, it was a great season of wrestling. So with that being said, I think I'm going to cut it short. I just want to let you guys know that we are going to have some guests coming on. I already have them scheduled out. So you will be getting your regularly scheduled podcast soon, very, very soon. And we'll start having them, as I said, every other week. And if I can get enough in rotation to where we can not have to worry about that anymore, then we'll try to have them every week. But for now, we're going to have it every other week. So stay tuned. I look forward to getting some of the guests on and giving you guys your normally scheduled and your exciting content. So with that being said, thank you guys for listening. And if you guys haven't already, make sure you guys go like us on Spotify, Pocket Cast. If you're listening to this on YouTube, make sure you go give us a subscribe and a like. That really helps us not only grow the fan base, but get us out in front of other people when it comes to this coaching stuff and it's this podcast. So make sure you go do that, and I would really, really appreciate it. I know there's some listeners who listen to every podcast and every episode, and there's some that listen in just for the last two specific ones, but nonetheless, we're going to be trying to get you content from every sport. We do have a different sport we have yet to talk to coming up soon as well. So please make sure you go like, subscribe on YouTube. Make sure you go give us a download or a follow or whatever you want, whatever you would call it. A like, I guess, is what they'd call it on Spotify. Making sure you add us to your playlist and to your favorite podcast, essentially. And same thing on Pocket Cast. So please go do that. And we'll be back in action here soon. So a lot of changes coming, a lot of things that are going to be happening and getting in the works. So with that being said, I appreciate you guys so much, and all of our guests do as well, shining light on their programs and you guys listening to their stories and where they're at and what they're doing with their life. So thank you guys so much. I look forward to talking to you guys soon. Peace out.